So, I'd like to introduce you to a YouTuber that obviously is local, and it's a walk with Phil, and he walks around the streets looking at the buildings. You know, when we walk the street, we only look at the shop fronts, don't we? Well, Phil will look up higher than that and tell you all about where this pub was, where that building was, how old this building is, and he likes to run around fairly locally, watching. Sometimes he stretches out to Albury. I've seen him in Warsaw. So fantastic local historian, as you might say. So this is my invite. This is my film for a walk with Phil. A walk with Phil, look. And I like to not only tell you, but show you and give you an invite into the world of vintage tools. Yeah. Now this is, I'm taps and dies and wrenches, you know, big ones, old ones. I'm a nuts and bolts nutter. If you follow this channel, anyone that knows me knows me. And I'm into wrenches, but I can't find the particular wrench I want to show you right at the very moment, which is drives you mad, doesn't it? So anyway, there is a lot of tools, and I'm not the expert on looking at where they are, where they were built. It's just maybe another interest, another avenue. Do you see this? Look, this one is made in Witton in Birmingham. Wolseley's in Witton in Birmingham. That might be an interesting place to go and find. I think you have been up in Cannock, and you have been to Elliot Lucas. You know, the vintage tool people. If you're not into vintage tools, you wouldn't know about Thomas Chatwin, Birmingham. However, look at the date, 1914. So I collect Thomas Chatwin. What about this? This is more up your street, as you might say. Look at this. Apollo, the Silent Whisperer. Akels and Pollock, Albury in Birmingham. Yeah, well, it's not Birmingham, it's Albury's in Albury. And here is this set. That's called the Silent Whisperer, and that's called the Silent Grip. But then they did a ferret, again, box spanners. And how do we know where this tool came from? Well, here it is, look. You can just about see the Albury there, can't you? Akels and Pollock Albury, and that firm still goes, still exists. I did go, but I wasn't very successful. And I have had an invite, and now I must, now the weather's picked up, I must go and try and expand that invite. But yeah, Phil. And I only live in Rushall, you know, the other side of Warsaw. So if you'd like to come and pay a visit, if you'd like to come and chat about vintage tools and obviously nuts and bolts preferably, and the group, my little group of vintage tool collectors, it's something again, and they all would have been made locally, and some of them have got the names on them and the stamps and the dates. I think you would find this place fascinating. So here is my invite to a walk with Phil, to come and have a look and have a chat about vintage tools made locally. This is it. And look at this one. No, I couldn't find them. They're in here. That one's got star listed on it. Do you see? So you'd be interested in that, wouldn't you? Because it's local. Again, vintage tools, you see. Two of them. I knew I had them somewhere. I couldn't find them. I'm glad I'd opened this box now. And that one's bursting on it. Yeah. So this is my film for a walk with Phil, for a recommendation for the channel Walk with Phil. And where's the box? The trouble is you put a box down on this bench, you never see it again. To get in touch and come and have a visit. Obviously I can't meet you somewhere and bring all my vintage tools with me, can I? So you'll have to come here, yeah, and see what you think. So anyway, let me recommend you a Walk with Phil channel.
Welcome to another video of Walk with Phil.
Yeah.
And I'm here in West Bromwich.
Yeah.
In particular, I'm near Carter's Green.
See, so yeah, Phil, this is my invite. Oh, adverts, don't they drive you mad, don't they? I don't know what you'd call this, a video invitation to come and have a look. And I'm sure between me collecting them and you knowing about the history, we could do a lot of interesting. I could feed your habit and you could feed my habit. Yeah, of vintage tools and nuts and bolts in our own special way. So, part of collecting tools is also collecting the catalogues. And Buck and Hickman had a place in Birmingham, Bristol, or a Birmingham branch. Yeah, in Birmingham branch. I wonder, together, or you do it or I do it together, look, find these places and see what tools they did, and it invites you to the world of vintage tools which go way back. And there's GKN. Wow, what an outfit GKN were. But again, they came from Birmingham, do you see? Yeah, so a lot of history there. We were looking at the Brown Brothers book not so long ago, and they had a depot in Tipton. You probably Connie Green Industrial Estate there. And they also had a place in Wolverhampton. It would be interesting to go and find that place. Brown Brothers Motor Spares. And my most precious book is my 1910 Richard Lloyd engineering tool. Look, in Shorthouse Lane, Steelhouse Lane, Birmingham. Wow, Galton Works. I wonder if that still exists. So there's lots and lots, and that's without looking at cars and car makers. I have a massive extent of books in cars, and let me just go and show you what information. Now, you found out information about Jensen that I didn't know about. As in models, so let's go see what information I've got on the Jensen Motor Company, a film he did very recently. And I don't think I'd be stretching the imagination if I said to you, in the attic, in those boxes, there is 30 years of car history. And looking, so let's look through a few boxes, see what we find on Jensen. Let me give you a flavour of, I like to pick up encyclopedias, you know. I didn't follow a particular brand. I just tried to pick up anything and all sorts. Quentin Wilson, these are fairly early books. Yes, I've got on to 4 wheels, I've got on 2 wheels. The automobile book. Let me see if I can find some of my oldest books. I've got a huge archive of books. And what would you do? What would you do with them? Where would you find them? Car, automobiles, yeah. I think this is one of the oldest books. With history in it. You can tell the age of the book because there's no colour pictures. So we've got some obscure pictures of odd cars everywhere. There's you know, the history of older vehicles. These are the older books picked up, look. Wow. Yeah. And it's great to be able to flick through a book to find something, and then you bump into something else and it gets the old juices flowing, doesn't it? That's what we're looking for. Jensen. J. How many Jensen? There we are, look. What's this one? That was her. I never. Jensen, Morris, West Bromwich. That's where you just went to visit not long ago. Wow, look at this. It's nice to have it in your hand, isn't it? There's another. What's that? That's a Jensen as well, isn't it? The only Jensen I ever known was this. I never knew they did others. Thank you to your film. We've got it in the books, haven't we? And here's the history of Jensen. And I know just for it tells you the price. Well, price was £3,743. Look at this. Ooh. Now there was one. I'm sure it was called the Bond car, and it was made in Dudley. Let me see if I can find that for you. Yeah, it got extensive names. Wow, unbelievable. I must be thinking of something else. I know Reliant made the Bond buggy, didn't they? But there was a car made in Dudley where Nuttall's is, or if it still is there. But there was a car made in Dudley. What was it called? And I wonder if we would find it in here. Why? Do you know sometimes you have a name in your head, don't you? And you go looking for that name. But I mean, the index on this is incredible. So I think this book, 4,300 makes, 2,400 illustrations. And when was this book made? When was this book made? It was 25 quid. Obviously I paid 15 quid for it. I don't know what day this book would have been printed. I guess it's going back to the 80s somewhere, do you think? Let's have a look. When date was this printed? Can we see a date? To the present date. Let's have a look. Can we find a date? First edition in 1968. Reprinted, yeah. So the earliest this is, or the latest this is 82. Wow. Yeah. And I've got a attic full of these things. Got a huge archive of vehicles and dates and times, and like I say, I picked up everything, anything and everything over the past 30 years. There's a huge archive here, but what's it doing stuck in my attic? Oh, we got so much history to be found in here. Yeah, and the space, and the only space I've got is it's in boxes in the attic. It's a shame, really, isn't it? It's a crying shame.